All right, everyone. So let's just get right into it. So in my last video, which was entitled The Ultimate Guide to Email List Building from 0 to 10,000 Subscribers Fast, I really kind of talked to you about, probably the biggest issue that most businesses have, which is finding and keeping those particular clients. And what I did was just kind of walk through how important it is for you to really have a system in place. And this particular system that I'm referring to is email marketing. Now, as you know, the online world itself is a fast paced type environment. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to simply walk through a case study for Green Grow Gardens, right? They are basically a small urban gardening company, and their challenge was really getting those clients, right? How can they connect to more customers who, of course, share their same values and ideal of sustainable type gardening? And their goal was to essentially, over the next 90 days, to add at least 1,000 highly engaged subscribers to their email list. Now, they went through several digital marketing techniques that, at the end of the day, all required some type of email campaign in order for them to successfully convert those particular customers that they encountered. With that particular process in mind and with those particular steps in mind, their outreach essentially resulted in them boosting their sales. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this case study. We're going to look at the strategies that Green Go Garden used to achieve those milestones. We're going to look at how they leverage social media campaign to basically create those irresistible lead magnets. We also look at how they took the initial lead magnet and contact in the various forms in the digital marketplace, and essentially got them into an email campaign. And what is that? What it did was essentially increase their opportunity to have those customers and those new prospects in the pipeline. Now, it really doesn't matter if you're new to email marketing or you're just looking for a fresh idea to grow your list. I want you to just kind of take a moment and, hang out with me as we go through the case study, where it really kind of gives a lot of good insight and inspiration, hopefully, for some things that you yourself would like to do over the next 90 days to help increase the number of subscribers on your email list. So let's just talk a little bit about the background, right? So, what was their key focus? Their key focus was really on making certain that the branding and, of course, the mission alignment, that is going to be very important for a successful marketing strategy, particularly for a company like Gringo Garden, right? Which is kind of a niche type industry. And I mean that in terms of it's an urban, really focused on sustainable type gardening, and so these are not things that you would normally go to your local Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart, right? To kind of just pick up an item. They're really focused on a particular niche of those individuals who share those same type of desires for a sustainable type garden. So they're looking to really kind of promote that eco-friendly gardening. Um, One of their unique value propositions, which you'll hear me refer to it as your UVP, it essentially is going to appeal to those individuals who are environmentally conscious, right? Those customers who really kind of understand, what does it mean to, have that type of gardening that use maybe um, those those ingredients that are much friendlier to the environment. So one of the things that um, Gringo Garden had to do was it had to build trust and credibility. Now, inside of your branding and your messaging, with the intended focus of making certain that it aligns with your values, you want to also make certain that you're fostering that authenticity, right? And this is where the customer will really trust what you're saying. They'll trust in the company. They will see that the company is genuinely reflecting its mission, right? You want to be able to essentially differentiate from your competitors. So in this particular case, the eco-friendly focus really did kind of set Gringo Gardens apart from their competitors and essentially kind of attracted the audience that valued the sustainability that they offered. Now, when we're talking about this, right, these are, of course, things that people are generally passionate about. So you do want to kind of appeal to an emotional connection. And many consumers really prefer to support brands whose mission really aligned with their own value. This create that stronger emotional connection and brand loyalty. Now, how do you do that? One of the ways that is definitely mentioned in most marketing and branding type classes is being able to tell your story. So, storytelling is really going to be a key element in making certain that your intended message is being transmitted to those individuals who share those same values. So, when we're looking at storytelling, we're really talking about mission driven companies, right? Those are the ones who will craft those compelling narratives around their goals and things such as maybe reducing waste, promoting sustainable lifestyles, right? They're going to tell stories that resonate with their audience, creating that deeper engagement. And so these are some of the things that, we really want to do. When we're looking at Gringo Gardens, the thing that they really focused on was the eco-conscious customer, and they really branded their business and message to build loyalty for those particular types of followers. Now, initially, they had 0 subscribers, and some of you may actually be listening to this and have no subscribers at all right now, or you may have very few. So they were launching an email marketing campaign with no one on their existing list, right? Now, as you know, this can be something that is a very daunting task, right? We're looking and we're like, okay, how are we going to grow from 0 to 1,000 to 10,000 to, 20, 50, 100,000? But the main thing that you want to figure out at this particular moment is just making certain that you have a message that is going to resonate with those intended customers, right? So building the credibility, convincing potential subscribers to trust your brand, right? With their contact information. Um, Emails are super important. I think pretty much everyone has some type of an email, whether they're using it for work related, purposes, or they're using it for their business, or they're using it for their own personal use. And so it's a valuable commodity. So people really think twice about submitting their email in certain types of advertisements. So you really want to make certain that the building of the brand and the trust is there. And we will talk a little bit more about that. Some of the solutions that I can think of for helping you build your credibility and trust is definitely making certain that you have social proof, right? Those are testimonials. Those are things like case studies, partnerships with well-known organization. Like all of those things build trust. Making certain that your lead magnets and offers that you are offering to potential customers that they demonstrate those expertise and establish credibility. Also, increasing your visibility is another really great way to absolutely build credibility, right? So when you're looking at increasing your visibility, you really are looking to just kind of make certain that you're showing up in those social arenas, right? That you may have a blog post or you're connecting with those other entrepreneurs who are complementary to your business, that you have some paid advertising, right? The way advertising is done now, especially in a lot of the social media platforms, is very affordable, but it takes a lot of work to kind of really figure out what type of advertisement is going to work best, and then how do you retarget and all of those things to kind of really help get the most out of that dollar for advertising. You can also use things like incentives, right? And incentives, of course, help establish reputation. I don't know if you remember, but I remember as a kid, there used to be like in the grocery stores, hey, sign up to win a free portrait of the family. And you would fill out this card and you'll put your information in. And then, like maybe a week later, somebody will either call or you'll get like a postcard to say, hey, your picture date for your sitting is on this Saturday, and then all of that is in an effort to get you into the studio, get your picture taken, right? And you get that one 8x10, or you end up buying more photos. So you want to kind of have those free giveaways and those incentives to help people really kind of get into the door. And this is what email marketing does, right? You also want to make certain that you're offering solutions to people problems. If they can get a solution at a very low level, and what I mean by that is not having to dig through like piles and piles of information. That is something that is very appealing to people, having information available to them on a very easy and quick, surface or position. Overcoming email skepticism. Now, what I mean by this is that, people are hesitant again to share their email. They're concerned about spam. They're concerned about receiving information that they're not really interested in. You just want to make certain that you're clearly communicating the value of why it's important for them to sign up, right? You want to make certain that if you need to, you're telling them that you're going to protect their information at all costs. So what we have here is that Gringo Garden had to overcome some of these challenges. And the reason why I said that is because they had no one on their list, right? So they had to, of course, go into maybe a brainstorming session around creative ways to establish some credibility and visibility quickly. So maybe that social media, contest, or partner with a well-known eco blogger or someone like that really help get them in front of their intended audience, right? So all of those things are going to be really great ways to help get the visibility and, of course, the credibility up so that people are more willing to share their email. The other thing too is that, their goal was to have 1,000 subscribers in 90 days, and we're going to talk about how they actually accomplished that. So, one of the things, of course, is again making certain that we have a clear, measurable goal. You always want to make certain that you are trying to obtain a real good fixed point. Where you can see whether or not it was successful, and their particular point was 1,000 subscribers in 90 days. So you want to make certain that you have a clear, defined goal, and that is what we will do as we continue to look through the rest of the case study. So, some of the strategies, right? The first thing that we're going to talk about is creating valuable content. Content is the absolute backbone of any successful email marketing strategy. For Green Grow Gardens, delivering that valuable, relevant content was going to be highly important in attracting those potential subscribers and keeping them engaged, right? So, what is the purpose? The purpose is always to draw people to your email list by offering them something they genuinely want. How do you do that? Well, you do that by offering high quality content such as free guides, checklists, exclusive tips. All of those can serve as what we call lead magnets, right? And a lead magnet essentially resonate with your audience interests and increase the probability of them signing up. So, for example, we're going to talk about Green Grow Garden offered a free downloadable guide on 10 eco-friendly gardening tips for beginners as a sign-up incentive. And this, of course, because they targeted to the right audience. They were able to keep the audience interested and involved through consistent and valuable updates. So the email that provides actionable advice, entertaining stories, or any kind of exclusive deals makes subscribers look forward to future communication. Now, does that mean that every single email that you send is going to be read by every single person that ever gets on your email list? No, right? But the probability of it being open and people not unsubscribing is probably going to be a lot less, right? So people, opening your emails will go up, people unsubscribing goes down. You also want to make sure that you're personalizing, some kind of personalization is taking place in your email. And what I mean by this is having, the ability to use your subscriber's name in the email, right? That really kind of draws my attention because even though I know it's probably going out in bulk, but when they say, "Hey, Janice, guess what we're doing this weekend?" I'm like, "What? What y'all doing this weekend?" Right? So you want to make certain that you have some kind of personalization in your email campaign. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. So, Green Grow Gardens, they did send a weekly newsletter featuring gardening tips and eco-friendly DIY projects, right? They also offered seasonal planting guides, which are all great things, especially for an audience who is super hyper focused on eco-friendly type gardening, right? And again, what this did was establish credibility and strength, right, in the actual relationship, right? In the relationship in terms of their relationship between them and their audience. Consistently driving high value content, it's going to position the business as reliable and trustworthy, and that's super important. Transparency, of course, is also important. Making certain that you talk a little bit about, how the business got started, a little bit about yourself. Posting is an authority, right? So you want to go ahead and make sure that you demonstrate expertise in the industry, and you can do this from a number of different ways, right? Sometimes you can write, op-eds, or you can write on LinkedIn and those types of things where you can get your work published. You can respond to customer comments, right? You can set up, like Q&A sessions. All of those things can be really great ways to kind of help become an expert inside of your market. So what did Green Grow Gardens do? They took the opportunity to write email series on sustainable gardening methods, reinforcing their authority in eco-friendly gardening. And what this did was it increased the trust and loyalty of their subscribers. So when the subscribers saw the consistent value, they were, more inclined to trust the brand and remain loyal over the time. They took the approach to educate and engage their subscribers, which in turn converted to paying customers, which is what we want, right? So that long-term relationship building, you do not want to take that for granted. It's very important. So we want to make certain that, we are continuously keeping those connections, that they are transitional interactions, right? Where they're receiving a benefit from being on our list. Okay. Um, some of the other things that we want to kind of look at is we want to kind of make certain that we're leveraging social media. Now, when we talk about leveraging social media is a powerful platform, and there are a ton of social media platforms that you probably can be involved in. I don't recommend using every single one of them because if you do that, you're probably going to use none of them. But I would suggest finding a platform that works best for you. And what that means is, where's your audience hanging out? Is your audience hanging out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? Or where? YouTube, right? Where are they hanging out? And from there, you can then decide which one of those platforms is going to be your predominant platform. Now, if you're making content that is transitional, meaning that you can use it across all of your platforms, that's probably even better. So you really want to kind of think about, what kind of content do I want to create and where will I use that content? Um, when we're looking at social media, of course, is going to help drive, um, you know, your audience to your email list. through sign up pages. The goal with social media is to attract the attention of your potential market, and you do that through your content, right? So how do you do that? Well, you're going to have high quality, visually appealing content. Like, for instance, with Green Grow Gardens, their content is probably going to be around gardening tips, eco-friendly DIY projects, right? Any kind of sneak projects, all of that stuff, you know. And because of that, they're going to use that content and offer free downloads and so forth that talks about sustainable type living. And in some cases, they may even offer classes, So all of those things will then, of course, allow for people to sign up, you to capture their email, and then that's when they get into the email marketing side of the house. I want to make certain that we tailor the content to the platform. So for Instagram, we really want to make certain that we focus on visually stunning images, short, engaging videos of potential, things that are going to be of interest to your particular audience. You want to use the stories and the reels to showcase maybe those behind the scene content. You want to collaborate with other individuals who's in your industry or align with your industry who are influencers to kind of help broaden your audience. If we're talking about Pinterest, you really want to create and share information, step-by-step guides, pins that link directly to email sign-up forms. You want to build boards around gardening if you are a Green Grow Gardens, right? Um, and for them, sustainable gardening hacks or eco-friendly plant care. So you want to think about what are those areas that your particular audience would find interesting. And if you use Pinterest to have that visibility and to create that credibility, then you want to use those types of content related ideals to help boost engagement. And then, of course, Facebook. You want to target your potential, customers with ads. You want to promote your lead magnets. You want to have sign up forms. You want to create engaging posts, go live if you're able to, have those Q&A sessions, basically build a community. Okay, any type of humanization that your brand can offer, the better it's going to be, because it's going to make it more relatable, transparent. Okay, so let's talk about utilizing the various list building techniques. So we're going to really kind of look at some diverse methods for building an email list to reach various segments of the audience. One of the things that we want to talk about, and it's going to be your lead magnets. So when we talk about a lead magnet, they're usually free for your audience to download um, or get emailed to them. There's usually some kind of free access. It could be an ebook, it could be a checklist. Once you've established what that particular lead magnet is, you will then create a form on your website, maybe even some pop-ups on the websites. I know if you've gone to any number of websites, especially now, you will find that when you go to the website, the very first thing they do is say, hey, would you like to get 10% off your next, purchase? And in order for that to take place, you have to give them an email address. And so, there's really creative ways that it's reciprocal in terms of benefit. It's beneficial for me to get 10% off my next order. So I'll give you my email address, right? You can also establish referrals and partnership with other brands or influencers. So keep that in mind as well. Some of the things that you want to do before you really kind of settle on what is going to be your lead magnet is really brainstorm about some of the things that is going to be important. All right, so let's talk about some key takeaways. The very first thing that I want to kind of talk about is why it is important to create valuable, tailored content consistently. The reason why we want to do this is because we want to ensure that we are regularly putting out content that is going to engage with your audience, right? It helps build trust with your subscribers, and of course, it increases the likelihood of conversion. Now, when you position your content consistently with value, it helps also build brand authority in your niche, okay? And this builds that credibility over time, which results in loyal customers, which is what we want. It also shows that you have a focus on nurturing your clients, right? By providing them with that content. So keep valuable, tailored content and keep it consistently. The next thing I want to talk about is really leveraging multiple channels. So we talked about the different types of social media channels that you have available. There are many, many more than the ones that we mentioned here inside of this video. You have to decide which one is best for you. And then you want to use that channel to help maximize your visibility and allow your brand to engage with those potential subscribers, okay? Of course, that is going to be a benefit because each of those channels, those social media platforms, they're going to potentially bring in a different type of a client or person. So you just got to tailor that information for those channels. The third thing I want to talk about is using lead magnets and content upgrades. So you want to consistently have a call to action inside of all of your lead magnets, right? Whether it's a free guide or if it's an ebook, whatever it is, you want to encourage those individuals who is viewing that content to sign up, right? And this is going to be across all of the platforms. Even though you're going to customize the platform content, you still want to make sure that there is a clear call to action. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is you want to be engaged with your audience and build community. Okay. So when we start talking about building community, we're really talking about you taking the time to engage with your audience and to build a community around your brand. Okay. This involves responding to social media comments, having discussion, making your subscribers feel heard and appreciated. Okay. Building a community helps build strength in terms of brand loyalty as well as turning those subscribers into brand advocates. I can think of two brands right now who have literally named their community, and that could be something that you do. You have a community, and so you're going to call your community XYZ. The next thing I want to talk about is you want to continuously test and optimize your strategy. Now, this means, you're going to refine your emails, you're going to look at and edit your subject lines, you're going to test different lead magnets, you're going to adjust to your social media. So that means you have to be able to look at your data. Okay, so you want to make sure that all of your approaches is data driven. You have to understand what is working and what is not working. All right, and that's going to be super important in terms of you having a good understanding of what is going to be your most effective way to get to your clients. All right, really. So in conclusion, with Green Grow Garden, they were able to not only reach their goal, but they exceeded it by 50 additional subscribers in that 90-day period. They were successful because they had a well executed tactic across multiple channels. They included website optimization, social media, influencer outreach, and of course, all of that accumulated, in the email marketing campaign or strategy that they. The very last thing I want to talk to you about is the certificate in email marketing for beginners that we are currently um, have applications are being accepted for. The email marketing for the beginners is designed to teach participants the essentials of email marketing and focus on building and nurturing your email list. The objective is to help you get the foundation you need to grow your list from 0 to 1,000 in 3 months. If you're interested in applying for this cohort, which is an 8-week cohort, which it will be hybrid, which means that there is going to be portion of the class that's going to be live and other portion that's going to be self-paced. You can sign up by scanning the QR code here on the screen, or you could click the link inside of the description, okay? Again, it is an application, and the best part is that the first 20 students will get a 50% discount. So if you're interested, definitely go ahead and register or apply using the application. And then information will be provided to you for how you can register for this cohort. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name is Janice with Hills Leadership and Training Institute, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye.